It's the weekend review on the Empty Stands podcast. I'm Ibuka. With me on this episode is Albert, and there has been massive news in our football space this Monday evening. Right, we're recording this on Monday, right when the Ballon d'Or ceremony is going on, and Albert, wanted to sit here talk about the Premier League, the weekend, match week 9, and all that happened, and then we got that shocker news that has left everyone surprised on my side and kept a lot of Man U fans happy, which is very sad to see, for being honest. And the breaking news is that Erik Ten Hag has been sacked by Manchester United. The club statement was very short, kind of like you're breaking up with the girl and you don't just know what to say. You're like, you just go. That's what it felt like. But I'm here with Albert, and we try to make sense of it all. You know, Albert, how are you doing? Were you surprised when you got the notification that ETH is no longer the manager of Manchester United?
Hi guys, it's good to be back on the show. I think one thing that it wasn't a surprise for anyone. It's been a long time coming, especially with the way the season started. With the run of form of United hasn't been the best. And I think one thing we should also know that also some folks expected this action to have been taking place last season, just right after United won the FA Cup, because now knowing that Ineos was coming in to put a good structure in the system, I think a new manager at that point would have been the best decision to help carry the same structure. But now um, they've caused themselves this new this manager that is about to leave, Eric Ten Hag, that is about to leave. Also, there has to be some form of compensation for him to go out of his to go get off his contract.
Yeah, here's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money also, right? And also right now he has spent a lot of money. They've invested in players that the new manager or the interim manager might not want, right? So there's a lot of mistakes that Ineos made last season. So yeah, it's sad news for someone to lose their job, right? Because when you think about it,
Especially in
when
this economy, as they've been saying on Twitter.
I think in the football world, you see that is most times it's only the coaches that actually get the get the sack, right? And the players are never responsible, or they never show that they are responsible. Always the managers that are responsible that get sacked. So it's quite a sad one to see him leave. Um, he I think there's a lot that he'll be remembered for, but
Two
right,
trophies in 2 years.
I know, right? But right
Yeah.
now, yeah, it's just a decision that the higher ups made, and there's no turning back from now.
Yeah, but when you look at it, right, on the face of it, this is a manager that, as he has, constantly reminded us of. He came into Manchester United, won the Carabao Cup in 2023, won the FA Cup, you know, 2024, right? Now, that's someone that, is coming, brought in that winning mentality. I want to get trophies, two trophies in two full seasons. It's a difficult decision, to sack him. That's what they faced in the summer. He just won the FA Cup, as you mentioned. Difficult to sack him. Maybe they should have, I don't know. But now making that decision, I don't know if it's still a bit surprising. And I just want to know, like, what do you think went wrong? Because you can't talk about trophies. He was delivering that. But for some reason, he has been sacked this season. Why?
I think there's so many factors to that, especially one like the United team that he inherited definitely didn't have the best players, and as a manager, definitely coming in to imprint or put his style within the team. At that moment when he joined, there was a lack of structure within United, and that also affected like the backroom staff. and the way the manager and the way the team actually perceives the entire game. Because I think culture actually has a way of affecting the play or the way players would play within a team. So like lots of players that didn't fit his style, they had to be some like they had to sell some players, buy players at expensive rates. Even our transfer strategy was terrible. Imagine getting Anthony for 95 million. And that was just one of the very ridiculous. So a lot
At the time, Anthony was a good player. At the
at the
time,
time he was a good player, definitely. But coming to United, man. Then we saw the run of injuries. In his 3 seasons, definitely injuries has been one of his key problems. Missing players, even right now, Malasia hasn't even played for like a whole season. Luke Shaw is still out. Lots of players, some players are still injured. So yeah, it's a lot to just pile on him right now. I think basically he's just been a bit unlucky. He's just been
yeah,
unlucky.
that could be a fair argument. But what do you think about his, handling of certain high profile players? You know, he had a clash with Ronaldo, it was well documented. He fell out with Jadon Sancho, and I saw some Twitter post. I don't know how true it is. David De Gea, he had, his saying some form of emojis, right? How do you think that influenced, his United career as a manager and ultimately his sack?
I think every manager has their way of giving that hair dryer treatment to every player. There's there are managers that actually need to be very stern to their players. So it's one of things that not everyone is gifted with that man management skill, right? It's more interpersonal on how you handle like players individually. Not everyone is skilled with it. Plus, honestly, he's Dutch, so he's literally very straightforward. Here in the Netherlands, like when you speak to Dutch people, they're very straightforward. They don't hide things, so that could come out as a bit yeah offensive to certain people unless you understand the culture. Definitely, behind the situation with it with managers and players is there has to be a head in the entire team, and most times it's the manager. But once certain personalities start clashing, then we know that there's always going to be an issue, and we saw that with the Pogba Mourinho situation, right? Like, there's no way that you actually want like large personalities to be clashing together, and that happened with Ten Hag and Cristiano, Ten Hag and Sancho. Yeah, it's just one of those things that happen, and I don't think it's ever going to stop. It's always going to happen within the world of football.
Yeah, and people talk about players being a bit too soft now. Yeah, I would say Ronaldo is one of those, but yeah, I think Ronaldo just had a lot of issues with the club, structurally, because at the end of the day, he talked about infrastructure and how things needed to change, and we've seen that now with Ineos coming over. So it means that there was no smoke without fire. Ronaldo knew what he was saying, right? But then clash with ETH, and ultimately, he had to leave. Sancho is playing for Chelsea now, and yeah, you as you say, it happens, man. It happens. Now, just wanted to quickly touch on some of the results, because at the end of the day, football is a results business. Um, I think there were some warning signs last season, especially when you look at your Premier League performance, where there were 14 games lost, 18 wins, 6 draws, 14 losses. That's very scary and very worrying. Your Champions League, performances as well, also weren't very good. 1 win, 1 draw, and 4 losses in the UCL. Um, the poor European performances have also carried into the Europa League this season, where you've drawn your game against Fenerbahce, Porto, Twente, all of that. Uh, it's his own business,
I think it was the most heartbreaking one.
Yeah, it was a good goal. So it wasn't heartbreaking for me. I was happy, as a hitter. But I can imagine all of that. So do you think that going into that game against West Ham, I didn't feel like it was a must win, but somehow I guess that was what it was because he has lost his job. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on the results. Do you think that the results, warranted that decision to sack him because it's still very early in the season? There's still so many games to play. Just 9 games in, and you're sacking a manager. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I think if there's one game that United was very unlucky, right, is definitely this West Ham game. Because United should have been 5 goals up in the first 30 minutes of that game. 5 goals up, literally. It's so like the Dalo chance that was missed was just horrendous.
My brother, I did not believe
I
it.
think Dalo is still having nightmares right now on that missed chance right now because it was one that would have set the tempo of the game. We saw Garnacho hit the woodwork. We saw so many missed chances in that game, and everything just changed when Somerville um, put West Ham in front. Then we had to start looking for a draw. Because then at some point, Ten Hag was looking for a draw once Casemiro equalized. But you see that horrendous penalty decision. Honestly, I think at some point we need to stop talking about the refereeing decisions in the games right
I
now.
did not understand how that was a penalty, to be honest. I did not
Like,
understand it.
I think referees need to be fined like properly, like when they give wrong decisions and it's being corrected, like they need to be fined properly. But yeah, United were really unlucky with that game. I wish they could have been ahead of West Ham in the first half. Just maybe it won't have maybe the whole world won't be talking about Ten Hag being sacked by now. But I think there's one thing that United shouldn't fall into. I think is that that manager bounce. Because when you think about it, the next few games that United have are actually games that are winnable, right? We have Leicester on Wednesday, but it's a Carabao Cup game. So we have Leicester. Then in our fixtures for November, we have Chelsea at home.
So yes, how is that winnable, bro? How is that winnable, bro?
We've done it. We've done it times and numbers, man. Don't even start.
Fair,
Um,
fair, but you only beat me when I have like shit managers. Like if you check the head to head Chelsea United, I think in the last 8 games, you've won twice. Chelsea have won once. That was the last one where it was that 4-3 epic encounter, right? But in there, the remaining 5 games were draws. So we've been playing 0-0, 1-1, and all of that. So
we're here
I
to
I don't
talk
I don't think I don't think it's
about Ten
straightforward.
Hag.
No, no, but yeah, even if you look at like Ten Hag's time, right, at Manchester United, he had what 2 wins against Chelsea. He had was it 2 draws and a loss. Okay, yeah, well, you can say it's not that bad because he kind of did very well against Chelsea. And to be honest, I was worried about facing United because of Ten Hag, but I was also excited because of Ten Hag. I was like, oh, okay, you guys are doing bonanza for everybody. But now it complicates the game, right? Because new manager, whether it's Van Nistelrooy or whoever, but
There's always that new manager bounce.
yeah, and that was what Social used to get the job then because he came in,
Exactly.
everyone was bouncing and he was getting results. Do you see that happening, like with the Leicester fixture, the Chelsea fixture, and the others? Like, do you see that happening?
Definitely, United will get a bounce. Will get a bounce. Might not be one that will push us to sixth or seventh, but I think it's one that can get us out of the second half of the table, just to ensure that we are floating till we can get like a proper manager to manage the club.
Yeah, and that bounds to be important, especially in the Europa League, because if
Oh, definitely.
you are expected to win, to me that's how you prove that you're bigger than the competition. You win it, right? You're expected to win. You're one of the favorites to win, even though the results have not been so good so far. But it gives you a chance to get into the Champions League because you win it, you get Champions League football.
I think
So
that should be our priority. I think the Europa
yeah,
League
it
should be
should be priority.
priority.
It should be whoever comes in, they should just tell him, well, no matter what you do in the league, get us, that Europa League trophy. But I wanted to ask you something. I've seen people on Twitter talk about writing off the season. That typically happens when you sack a manager, right? Because or he's like a manager in the middle of the season or during the season, you know, you have to kind of realign your goals again for the season. Like, oh, if before you were thinking top four, you're like, maybe let's just finish top seven or something. So a lot of people tend to write off the season. I just want to know if that's going to happen now, Manchester United. Do you think that should happen where, if it's Van Nistelrooy that gets the job to the end of the season or whoever comes in, just let the person know it's a free run, just, do whatever you want to do and we'll look at it next season. What do you think? Because we're just 9 games in Premier League.
Exactly. For a club like United, for a club like United, writing of the season is definitely not the way to go. Because if you take the template of how Villa got Una Emery, it was somewhere around this period that they got him in, and they just allowed him to do his thing, right? And they became a force, and they are still a force up to now. So
Yeah,
writing of
top
the
of the
season,
UCL.
yeah, writing of the season after 9 games is definitely not the way to go. They really need to just get their eggs in order right now. I don't think it's the way to go.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It's very early. Still a lot of football to be played. Now, you talked about transfers earlier, and I just wanted us to circle back. We saw Itik sign a good number of players from Ajax, players that, understood what he was trying to do, understood his system. This year, this season, we saw even new additions to that, the late Mazraoui and the likes. Do you think that that was ultimately his downfall? Trying to bring these players from Ajax instead of maybe trying to get more local talent in, or promoting more players from the academy. What do you think about ETH and transfers?
I think whatever manager you bring on board, right? They actually most likely will get players that they are very familiar with. And that's what he did. And every other manager does that. So it's very unlikely that he would have tried to approach players that he hasn't worked with before. But yeah, I was just a bit worried that throughout his entire season he spent so much money. I think just looking at all the signings, like with Ugarte right now with 50 million, they late for like 45 million. Majrari for 15 million euro. Euro hasn't even played, but for 62 million. Xerxes for 42.5 million. Amrabat was on loan. That was just 9 million. Then we had the likes of Hoyland for 74 million. Bainda for 5 million. Omnana for 50 million. We had Mount for 64 million, one of Chelsea's best sell. Casemiro for 71 million in an aging midfielder. Martinez for 57 million. I think that has been one of our very good signings. Malaysia for 15 and Anthony for 95 million. So it's been a bit scary. I think also like Bainda for 5 million. So like he has literally brought in most of his players that he wanted. Like he wasn't like short of players that he needed. The even before the Ineos era, he still got good signings to come in. Yeah, it was just a bit sad that like things didn't turn out well for him.
Fair, as you said, some coaches would like to get the players that they are familiar with, and there's some good players, on that list. But just again, how do you think the sacking affects the Chelsea fixture?
The Chelsea fixture. The interim manager definitely is not new to coaching. Van Nistelrooy coached PSV. PSV is one of the top
Yeah,
clubs in the Netherlands, and he won 2 trophies with PSV. So I believe he wants to definitely right now, as much as there are so many other names that United would like to bring on board, Van Nistelrooy is definitely looking to be the man that leads United to the glory days because he he understands what it is to win in United. One, he's a legend too, and he has the credentials. Maybe not the one of Champions League, but also being able to lead a team to win trophies is not it's not an easy feat. There are so many managers that still haven't done it up till now. Right? So yeah, this is just one area that I believe um I believe Van Nistelrooy will be looking to ensure that he puts his mark on the game and puts a mark on United.
Yeah, and we kind of saw that in the summer when he was appointed, right? I think we discussed that briefly on earlier episodes. If you bring someone like Van Nistelrooy into the club, it kind of seems like you're preparing for the worst, which is when we sack Ten Hag, this guy will take the job. Like, and it looks like good foresight from Ineos, right?
Yeah,
Because
that was good.
you're
That
not
was
getting some random guy, you're getting someone that is a club legend. He's also a fairly good manager during his time at PSV, right? So it seems like good foresight from them. But then again, do you think Ten Hag would have been comfortable with that appointment, knowing that it seems like these guys are preparing for my end? I don't know if you saw it that way too.
yeah, that was good foresight from Ineos, right? Because also Van Nistelrooy is quite a figure, right? I think one of the hopes that we had earlier on was that the strikers would learn one or two things from him on how to be that
Oilon did
big.
not learn in anything. Ah, bro, did not learn anything.
So I think there's so much pressure on Haaland himself because he's he's very young and putting the entire scoring the scoring possibilities on his back is yeah it's too much for a young striker. Does they need to have someone more
But Haaland is young too. Haaland, you put that pressure on him, he takes it, he scores goals. You know,
different
Nicholas
personalities?
Jackson is young too. You put that pressure on him, he takes it, he scores goals.
I like the way you're talking, but deep down you know that Jackson is not the striker that you want.
Ah, well.
Like
okay,
let's not go there. Let's not go there.
okay. Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. But to be fair to Jackson, right? He's improving. He's improving.
Yeah,
Um. So yeah, it seems like the names flying around, but Ruben Amorim of Sporting seems the most likely. If the reports are to be believed, right? United have had talks with him. He seems interested. Some reporters have gone as far as saying there's a verbal agreement. He has accepted the United job verbally. We don't know how accurate or how true that is.
yeah.
But do you think he's a good pick for United if he gets the job? Let's also keep in mind that this is a manager that was linked to Chelsea, linked to Liverpool. A lot of fans from both clubs admire him. There's so much tactical videos and content about how he fits and all of that. But he said no to these clubs. If he's saying yes to United, I think that's a plus, and that means that you guys are doing something right. But what are your thoughts on him? This young, exciting manager from Sporting.
I think every manager knows the pressure of joining a big club, and the only guarantee when when you decide to join a big club is knowing that I'm joining one that already has proper structure and I'm going to win, so that my life is secure. Definitely. So now, if Ineos can promise him a proper structure, right, and guarantee him the freedom to to perform, right, then just maybe that could happen. But I think when you look at the business side of things, he has a release clause that would be very expensive to get out of, especially at this moment in the middle of the season, right? Right, like he he has that release clause also. Then two, I think he was also one that was linked to being a Pep replacement in the future. So
Yeah, yeah.
when you think about it, do you want should he take the United job now or just wait till Pep retires and he then takes the job? Right.
Yeah, because if you take the United job, it kind of rules you out from the City job like
Yeah, it
almost
rules
forever
you out,
because
like
you
almost
can't get
forever.
it.
'Cause, like definitely they're rivals. So you almost never get the City job, right? And I think City is more of the sweet spot for every manager that is hoping to.
I say,
Just like you know that you have a solid team and there's a proper structure involved. All you need to do is just move a few pieces around, and yeah, you get things moving. So yeah, I think um and mm, honestly, I think his tactics also are very very commendable. Like I think he's one of those players that like they really know how to build out from the back and then proper with also having your DM as like the single pivot from the back. I think it's quite interesting to see like managers like pretty much know how to experiment, and him moving to United would see him have Ugarte back, right? And maybe build the team just like around him because you need to have like a proper anchor and a proper solid back to be able to create that advanced structure that you want within the team.
yeah, we also got the at Sporting. He was a fantastic player. Everybody wanted him. So if we can get that version of him back at United, maybe after the Chelsea game, yeah, that would be great for you guys as well.
Okay, selfish for yourself.
Of course, you were sharing 3 points. Reach my turn to collect my own 3 points. Sack the manager. What's all this now? What kind of rubbish is that? Shall allow me? Let me collect my own first. Yeah, you can sack him. But anyway, we'll survive. I wanted to ask quickly if for some reason Amorim doesn't get the job, maybe there's no agreement with Sporting or no agreement with him or whatever. Who would you like to see? There are good options like Southgate. You know,
Southgate.
yeah, yeah. The Southgate. Let me find the random English manager. Wayne Rooney. Let me find another one. Who else? Gary O'Neill from like just anyone. Like they're guys. So, but anyway, jokes aside, who would you like to see at United if Amorim doesn't get the job?
I think my second best option will be Julian Nagelsmann. Yeah, I think yeah he'll be my second best option. But there's a long list right now. I think for on the news we're hearing or we're seeing that Xavi Hernandez currently out of work from
Yeah,
Barca
yeah, I heard that Xavi just too. That would not be a bad pick, oh.
also an option.
Yeah, it would not be a bad pick.
Ineos has also been in contact with Thomas Frank or Brentford.
That
Uh,
is the guy. That's the man.
why
That's
is
the
he
man.
the
He's the man because he's just the man. He's the right man for you.
Then I think the other previous United um, alumni, Michael Carrick, Kieran
You,
McKenna, that was a
yeah, I
previous.
think McKenna. That's whole summer of United trying to find the manager, Chelsea also trying to find the manager. I think you know if United had doubled down on McKenna, I think it would have been good for them because I like the guy, very bright manager, plays good football. Um, I think it would have been a good fit for either United or Chelsea. And if you go back for him, that would not be bad. As they say, he knows the club. These people talk about it like it's some special, special thing, but he knows the club. He's been there. He was an assistant to Jose Mourinho as well.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So yeah, one of those guys, Thomas Frank. Yeah, that one. I agree. Thomas Frank, good pick for you. but
So
let's see what happens.
yeah, I hope Ineos makes the right decision.
I hope you make the wrong decision because I'm enjoying this. You guys are giving me so much joy. I watch United games. I expect them to not win. It was so nice. Want to spoil that for me, but my God do not allow it. Don't worry. But yeah, let's step away from United for a bit. We saw Liverpool and Arsenal. You know, lock horns, 2-2 draw, very competitive game. There was a drama before kickoff. Who is going to start? Is Saka available? Is Saka not available? They said he's injured, he's not injured. So me on FPL, I just quickly sold Saka and bought I bought some Buemo. So it all
Oh
balanced
wow,
out. Yeah, it was very
that really
I felt very smart, when Buemo scored, so I was like, yeah, I'm a tactical genius, it was more luck than judgment.
oh,
But yeah, you
so luck, man.
I was very lucky. But Saka came, started the game, scored the goal, very good goal, and Liverpool pressed Arsenal. I think Arsenal were maybe the more dominant side on the day in terms of putting pressure on Liverpool a lot. And as Slot said, they're the best team that they've played so far, and the first team that he felt were better than them, which I don't agree because Chelsea were better than Liverpool on the day. But no, he won us, so he can say whatever he wants to say. But do you think the draw was a fair result?
Definitely, it was a very fair result.
Nah,
Um,
I think it wasn't. I think Arsenal should have won.
no,
I think Arsenal should have won.
I think with the like we said, and we said last episode, I think Liverpool is going to come from, was going to be very subtle and win this league, while everyone is just chasing and chasing and chasing. But with the tenacity that Liverpool had in that game, they were able to sneak one out and get that
Yeah.
draw that
It
day.
looked like they were going to lose, but then Salah that was quiet all game, he just popped up with the goal. You
Yeah, and that goal was really one that was well worked. Plus, they have an amazing passer like Trent. Definitely, the ball is gonna go to it's gonna be in their favor. Through the lines and try and find the man in the front, and that's what they did, and they got their goal. So I was not
yeah.
surprised by the draw. I think it was a well
No.
balanced game.
I,
Yeah.
I think Arsenal should have. I think Arsenal are unlucky with injuries, but then it's not like everybody has all their players fully fit though. But I think Arsenal will be unlucky because I'd have loved to see, Saliba in that lineup. I'd love to see Calafiori. Even though Saliba's one is more suspension than injury anyway, but I'd have loved to see Saliba available, love to see Calafiori, also on the pitch. Um, but one player that I want to give a shout out to was actually Thomas Partey. That guy held it down, man. I need to give him his flowers.
I
He
think
was
Partey played
playing a right
center,
back,
yeah, right back. Yeah, I think that was
but
really that's some utility player, man.
yeah, and he was inverting into midfield, winning tackles. I really like the guy. I think that's one signing that Arsenal made that he's just stuck. Like he always makes sense. As much as they signed Jorginho, signed Declan Rice, they always find out that we need to find a way to put Partey in this lineup because he's that good. Yeah, I want to give him his flowers. He did very well. Um, there was this incident, Arsenal had a goal that they felt they had not even crossed the line before the referee blew the whistle, right? But Arsenal fans were talking about that Kai Havertz torso with Konate that the referee gave as a foul, but they felt it was a bit harsh. I don't know what your thoughts are because Arsenal fans have sent us like so many videos of that whole incident saying the referee made a mistake.
I think at that moment when it comes to certain tackles, right? I don't even blame referees when they give harsh or less harsh punishments because I promise you once you're looking at to make a decision and you slow the camera down, everything seems very intentional. Like it's a very slight chance that it doesn't seem malicious or intentional. So at the moment, the referee is going with maybe less of his decision from the VAR and just more of gut feeling and like so.
Yeah, but I felt like he could have let the play develop before blowing the whistle because like he blew it once, Havertz and Konate contested for that ball in the air, and he felt like Havertz fouled Konate, right? I think the referee should have been a bit more patient, let the play develop and then let's see what happens. But the referee felt like that was a foul, and Arsenal fans have been at it, like they've been complaining on Twitter.
I think for the past 2 seasons, right, or more, we've been dealt with so much human error, and it's one of those things that how do you mitigate against human error? It's one of those questions. Just like, so how do you mitigate against human error? And we see that, like, if they let that incident just play out, then it would have been easier who to see who had more of a malicious intent as opposed to
Exactly, exactly.
yeah.
Well, Arsenal fans, you just have to bear with us. That's
Sorry
how it
about
is in the
that.
Premier
We,
League.
we, got, we got a wrong call.
Yeah, it's reach everybody, as they say.
Yeah,
You laugh today, but it can be your thought tomorrow. So you guys should just let it go. It was a fair
exactly.
result. A 2-2 draw. Um, Arsenal play Chelsea in like what 2 weeks. Let's see how that works. Chelsea, we have to first beat Newcastle in the Carabao Cup, beat United, then balance and beat Arsenal again. Everything just align. I can say this confidently because Chelsea has the best player in the world. Forget what the Ballon d'Or rankings say. Cole Palmer is the best player in the world, and he plays for my club. So yes, you won't argue as Albert. You won't argue. Yeah,
I love
good.
Cole Palmer. I love Cole
Okay.
Palmer.
I was ready to take you on.
I love Cole Palmer.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about Saka. Just final word on this Liverpool Arsenal fixture. How important is Saka to us now? They missed him against Bournemouth. They lost the game. Not just because of the red card. They were kind of devoid of creativity with Odegaard and Saka not being on the pitch. But then Saka came in against Liverpool, scored that amazing goal. How important is this guy to us now?
Honestly, I think Saka is the most important player in Arsenal. Right, this season, last season, 2 seasons ago, definitely the most important player. He's their golden boy, their golden child. Like definitely, he makes everything happen. Like he knows how to make the team gel. He's very creative. He scores. He contributes. Like what doesn't he do, right? Yeah, like it's really amazing. So honestly, when you have just thinking about it now, when you have players like Saka and Palmer in the English team, England team, you just wonder like why didn't England win the Euros? But anyway,
Southgate.
that's one. That's
Southgate is the reason.
that's one for another time. But yeah, he's literally one of their one. He's literally their most important player right now, and that's like no one can take that away from him. Because when they play without him, they're a bit of a shadow of themselves.
Yeah.
Definitely a bit of a shadow of themselves. And there's some creativity that is being like that they lack um there. But yeah,
And he's top of the assist charts in the Premier League so far. Very creative player. Contributes, in forward areas by scoring goals as well. Very important. Very skillful. Yeah, he's getting there and he's building that consistency. Because for you to have 7 assists after 9 Premier League games, of which he has played only 8, that just shows um how on point he has been this season, how consistent he has been so far, and it's a good one, for Saka. I'm not his biggest fan, but I have to admit he has been doing well. He has been doing well. But yeah, that's all we can take on this episode today. For our listeners, thanks for sticking with us this far. We are the Empty Stands. You can follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. Yeah, just like and subscribe wherever you get wherever you get this content, and look forward to the FPL episode that drop later on in the week. I would say have a fantastic week ahead, and see you all next week.